I'm sitting here looking at Donald Trump's chart and trying to discern what I think is going to happen to him as he runs for office of the President of the United States. And, I have to say that every place that I look, it looks like he's winning. I think that I want to send this out so everybody can start thinking about Trump in office and getting used to the idea because his astrology totally supports him. I do believe he is an honest man. I have tore his chart apart looking for dishonesty, things that would be manipulative or things that would be not in keeping with what America needs for peace, progress, and enlightenment. And Donald Trump has a Leo ascendant, which means he's drama king. And he has the Mars on his ascendant, which makes him aggressive and very military and strong oriented. That's why I think he's Patton reincarnated. One of the reasons, although there are many more reasons than that. And he wants to make America great again, I believe, because that's what his chart says. His moon's in Sagittarius in his birth chart. He's a crusader for a cause. He's very patriotic. And it falls in the Leo house. And the sign Leo is ruled by the heart. That means that he really does mean it. He loves America. Now, another thing about Leos is Leos are very territorial. So what you'll see in Donald Trump's actions is that he's trying to draw the line. This is my territory, this is my America, and you may not cross the line. And they'll roar very, very loud. But all you have to do is show them that you care, that you are interested in the greater good, and he's going to stop roaring at you and he's basically going to work with you. He is definitely a leader. I have always thought that people who truly are leaders lead with their heart, and if anybody could lead with their heart, Donald does. What is the seeming issue in communication may be that he has his sun in Gemini in a Capricorn house, and the sun in Gemini is a talker, really great talker, can be very, very funny, has great one-liners, and you really have to listen to him a little closer because he's saying things that could be, quite frankly, visionary. And what he loves to do is stir up the authorities. His sun is in the 10th house. That's a Capricorn house. And so he wants to take a flowing look into the rule book. Is the rule book truly, serving a purpose? Let's look at it. Let's talk about it. So he has a gift at branding, as everybody says, but he also has a gift at bringing up a subject that needs to be looked at. And so he's dealing with probably all his life people who are, cautious, people who are overly cautious and are paralyzed by their caution. He's not paralyzed. He wants to stir that up and get people moving again. And I tell you what, his chart is a chart of someone on the move. Now, I've looked for criminal behavior in his chart, which is usually depicted by a Pluto square Mars or a Uranus opposing Mars or eighth house activity or secrets. And I don't see that. I don't see it anywhere. Now, if you listen to our radio show, the TrekUpwardRadioshow.com on Ben Carson, I said that he had a Pluto square Mars in his chart long before he, introduced his book. And in his book, he said that he went after his mother with a hammer and he had violent behavior and things like that. That's what Pluto square Mars is all about. And Pluto square Mars is a charismatic that's like, I really think you are just amazingly gentle and amazingly captivating. And Ben Carson captured that as he oozed charisma for a while. But then the truth of the matter, Pluto square Mars, came out. And, I thought to myself, what will that Pluto square Mars show up as? And, it was probably a month later, everybody started talking about his activity that was violent when he was a child. So, or he wasn't a child, he was 15 years old, and those acts were felonies as far as I'm concerned. Even though I think he is changed and I think has a good manner, maybe he could be the director of the health department in our government, since they don't seem to know what they're doing with Obamacare and all of that. Maybe Ben Carson could go in there and take over that department. I don't know that he should be president. I do believe that Donald Trump should be president. He's got the shoulders of Patton. And, if you look at America's chart, we're in a very dangerous time. And it is true, if everybody makes the wrong free will choices, we are headed for war. And Donald Trump is probably the only one who's got the courage to stand up to some of these people who are just totally out there with their understanding of what America really is all about. So, first and foremost, I have to say, against all the people that are putting him down, that Donald Trump is a patriot. He truly, according to his astrology, shows a love for this nation that is pretty profound. And I do believe with all my heart that he wants to make America great again. Now, I understand how Leo energy thinks because I'm a Leo. We are very, very generous, and Donald can be very, very generous and giving of the heart. And if you just watch it, it's kind of funny how he'll jump on someone when they jump on him, and he'll call someone a name. And then what happens is when they turn around and say something nice, he's like all nice again, because that's really all he wants to do is get along, according to his chart. Again, he's got the sun and Uranus both in the career house. All his planets are above the horizon in the quadrant of the bigger picture. So that means he wants to serve the bigger picture. Probably has already served the bigger picture in many ways. And if you really look at his campaign, he keeps bringing up the issues that make the old school or Capricorn very mad, the people that hold the place of old school. He's bringing the new and the visionary and the, hey, we got to pay attention to these things. And he's absolutely true. He's absolutely truthful about it and absolutely right on the money. So it's tough. He's going to have to take a lot of heat from the media and from people who, the only word I can think of is sick. People who hold positions of power and they've had those seats for so long and they don't want to move over and they don't want to change their ways. But we need a fresh air, a breeze that comes in and blows these stiff over, and replaces them with people who can be progressive in the fact that the times are serious and we are facing war in America's chart, and this war will very well bring foreigners onto our soil, as the progressed moon is in Scorpio now, which is the blood, guts, and gore, where we're seeing that all over the world through terrorism. And then it goes into Sagittarius in less than 6 months, and that's foreigners, expanding on our soil. And then that's when we're going to see the real trouble. So there's a lot of reasons to have Trump in office, and I've looked for a reason not to have him in office. And the only thing that I can see is that sometimes he's a diamond in the rough in the realm of how he says it. People misunderstand what he means, but I guarantee this astrology shows that he is really means it from the heart, and he wants to stand strong, and he's the only one that's got the shoulders to do it of all the people that are running. And I sort of hope that he'll have Ted Cruz as a running mate, maybe. He's probably going to need a support that is sort of respectful of his nature and understanding of his personality type. I was talking about, if you believe in reincarnation, which I do, we all come back again and again and again. And Patton was assassinated in his last life for wanting to go after Russia. Long story short, if you really look into the history books. And a lot of times what happens is we reincarnate really fast when we have a violent ending. And so I think Patton came right back in, because Trump was born in 1946, and he came right back in as Trump, and he's always had this mission and desire to build a foundation that's strong, his attraction for real estate, coming into a real estate family. And then Jupiter being in his second house, meaning, wanting to expand that patriotic feeling into, a bigger picture. So, he becomes president and he builds a foundation for America that has been shaken quite a bit. And things in the world are changing, and people have to wake up and smell the roses, because literally, if we do not face evil, and we are looking at evil, we're not looking at personality types and we shouldn't be thinking ooey gooey sympathetic type things. What we should do is be standing strong and looking evil in the face and realizing there is such thing as evil, and the only way to get rid of evil is to challenge it and to go after it. It's not going to go away on its own. In fact, it's going to try to take over. And look at our media. What do we see on TV? We're constantly bombarded with violence, yet here we have all our politicians saying, take the guns away. And the movies are, there's just such a lie going on there, or an indoctrination. And I've heard that there, a book called The Art of War, that it takes 15 years to lead a generation astray, and to bring in indoctrination that would not be the same. So, and that's the way that the communists, although I don't really understand socialism and communism as fully as I should. I'm an astrologer, not a. But that being said, indoctrination comes through, what do you put your attention on over and over again? And so if you put your attention on a lot of this garbage that's coming through the TV, of course you're going to be lulled to sleep, and then not have the backbone that you need to have in a time where we all need to be strong. Now, in America's chart, I have to say, the economy is taking a shake-up too. Now, that makes me immediately, with a progressed moon in Scorpio in America's chart, that rules money. Gold, silver, the Wall Street, everything that has to do with how we deal with financial activity. And it is very shaky. So that makes me want to have a president in office who is strong enough to make our economy strong and give our jobs back. So I look at Donald's chart and I see such a strength in investments and understanding how to make and shape money and make it work through the systems, because he's a visionary at whatever systems are in place. He has that ability. He's not afraid to take a chance. He's not afraid to gamble. That's what shakes up, I think, the conservative world, because they are afraid to gamble and they really are afraid to look at evil. So the money situation, the economy being very, very untrustworthy, you bring someone in like Donald who's built an empire, and let him build a bigger empire. Let him build the American empire. So we all have our small business or big business, and we have the ability to go out and get jobs. So that being said, believe me, that's the first reason I was attracted to Trump is that he had already succeeded in the business world. I used to watch his movie a few times back in the old days when it, Apprentice. And, I thought, wow, that guy is really tough. He was firing everyone. But, if you really looked at the people that he fired, they were incompetent. They made choices that did not bring them success. And another thing that maybe you don't know about Donald Trump is that one of his early mentors, as he was growing up, his pastor or his teacher in Sunday school was Norman Vincent Peale, who was a man that wrote a book called The Power of Positive Thinking. Pretty much all you hear that comes out of Trump's mouth, Donald Trump's mouth, is, I can do this. I am the best. I am successful. I am, a leader. And he's never ever backed off from those strong statements, which is, quite frankly, if you've ever studied treasure mapping or building, success in your life, that's where you start, by the fiats that you make. I am successful kind of becomes a magnet inside of you if you truly believe it and you infuse it with emotion. That's how you create things. So he's created that all his life because that's the role models that he was presented with. And I think that he, being Patton, chose this particular background to grow up on so he could get back into the political system as a general and get those 5 stars. And if you'll notice on all his podiums that he speaks from, he's got 5 stars there. I think that's a subconscious, they withheld that 5th star from him. He deserved it because he stopped World War II as Patton. So, and it's really interesting, he always invokes Patton in a lot of his speeches. He'll talk about Patton. There you are. Wonder if he knows who's Patton. Come again. Because we are facing the military might from other worlds, other nations that are a little out there in the realm of belief systems and motives. I guess motive of the heart. They don't really care about America. They'd want to take her down. And they see us as their enemy. We got to defend ourselves from that. Yeah, it's okay to love your enemy, but make sure that you're protected from your enemy as well. That being said, I think that all of us should reconsider the fact that it isn't about whether you've worked in the Senate or the Congress or you have this political background. What it is do you have the know-how to lead? I don't think our early forefathers were schooled leaders, they sort of had to wing it, and they created a pretty great thing. And I think that Donald Trump is the only one with the muscle and the heart. And the only true leader is the leader that leads with the heart. And he's the only one that I can see as I look at all the charts that actually has that heart. My message to you is to read between the lines, listen to what he really has to say, what he's really saying, not what the media tells you he's saying, but when he says things like, I want to ban Muslims from coming in, listen to the second sentence that he says, which is, for a time so we can see what's going on. He's not saying, I don't like Muslims. He's saying, hey, we got a problem here. We got trouble in River City. We better, stop and take a look. So to me, that is probably the most important thing that America can do, is listen to the second sentence that Donald Trump says, because he really does mean well. And if you want to have a man in office that you can trust, since we've dealt with one that we can't trust for many, many years now, almost 8 years, I hope and I encourage you to go with Donald Trump for President of the United States. And I'm telling you, his astrology shows he's going to win. You might as well get used to the idea. And then you can feel safe in America again. I mean, I gotta say, I go to Portland, Oregon to visit my family, and we're sitting in a cafe thinking, good Lord, could somebody drive by, do damage? So I don't want to feel that way anymore. I love America, and I want her strong. I want this truly to continue to be the home of the brave, the home of the free. That's all I have to say. So vote for Donald Trump.